morning. Welcome back to the Pastor's Study. On Sunday, we had a wonderful time of worship. We did some singing. We laughed together. We shared praise and troubles. We shared over the Word. We talked about the Exodus and continued to explore the book of Exodus. I'd like you to, this week, begin reading through Exodus 13. As we do this, we enter into a world that is much different than the one that we inhabit. It is filled with stories and images that at a certain point are familiar, but yet we don't really understand. So spend some time with them. There are a number of prayer requests listed in the newsletter for this week. So if you would spend some time praying for those that were mentioned during worship on Sunday. We are also now live streaming worship on Sunday mornings on our YouTube channel. So you can catch that there. If you miss worship, you can stop in and you can watch anytime you want to. On Sunday mornings, you can stop in and you can actually join in live with us if you can't make it. We're working to think about how we can get prayer requests from folks at home and those sorts of things as well. So if you would just be patient and we'll make that work as well. You know, as spring finally seems to be showing up, we are reminded that sometimes things don't go the way that we want them to. Sometimes it's wet and cold and rainy when we want it to be warm and nice and able to enjoy the outdoors. And life tends to be that way. Things don't go according to our plans. And we're disappointed. And disappointment is probably one of the things that we struggle with the most. We don't think about it much. But how we deal with disappointments, with things that didn't go the way we want them to, that grief stays with us. Sometimes we deal with it well, and sometimes it becomes a dark shadow that casts over our lives a feeling of depression, of sadness, longing for something different. And you know, it creeps in. It's insidious. And the enemy uses it. What I'd ask you to think about it, look at those things which have been troublesome and a disappointment to you, that have caused grief. Especially those that you've never addressed, never come to terms with. It's not an easy thing to do, I recognize that. But if you look at the story of the Exodus, you see what happens. The Israelites leave Egypt, and it's not what they expected. They're disappointed. So at one point they're thinking maybe we should just go back to slavery, back to the way things were, because right now it's just too tough to continue towards that better life, that better world. And that's the way the disappointment works. It discourages us. It reduces our dreams. It spoils our hope. Paul said the greatest three gifts are faith, hope, and love. These are the ones that last, that make a difference. Faith, hope, and love. We've talked about loving our neighbors and our enemies. Faith, trusting in God, and hope. Hope is the expectation of something we have not yet experienced, and yet we long for. If you know that feeling of thinking things should be different, should be better, should be right, then you know what I'm talking about. Hope calls for us and calls in us to reach beyond what is to what can be. If you have to choose between hope and despair, hope and disappointment, choose hope. Yes, the road may be hard. It may take 40 years of wandering through the desert. But at the end, there is the promised land. That is the way that hope works. Have a great week. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. I'll talk to you a little later.